Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of Ada Angels. Look who we have with us here. We have James. James, tell us, give us your full introduction and all the things.
Amanda, Alex, thank you very much for inviting me on the show. I'm thrilled to be here. This is my first time getting interviewed, kind of. Just really quick, though, want to say views expressed by me are my own. My appearance on this program does not imply an endorsement. This is for entertainment purposes and is not in any way representative of your Cardano update or our stake pool, United States of Cardano, ticker USA01. We're nowhere near saturation, beautiful return on investment, high pledge, competitive fee, look us up. Yeah, I'm in no way affiliated with them right now during this interview.
Just James. So, speaking of just James, where are you from and where did you grow up?
I was born in Melbourne, Florida, which is kind of like Central Florida. So I grew up in that region mostly. I went to University of Central Florida for undergrad. And then, yeah, I graduated and I had a huge student loan to pay off and went into the Army and did broadcasting and had a fantastic 7 years doing that. And then, yeah, I got out and started teaching military students how to do public affairs and broadcasting, what I did. And from there, I moved up to our headquarters, and that's kind of where I'm at now.
So when you were teaching, were you doing it as still active or like as a contractor?
No, as a civilian.
Okay.
Civilian.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
really it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
So James, what were your interests while growing up? Do you have any fun stories for us?
Goodness gracious. Oh, I've got stories. I don't even know which one that comes to the top of my head. I swear this is no joke. I think I was maybe 12 years old. And I had ran into a guy, my babysitter brought me and my brothers to, I don't know, the driver's license office or something. And I sat next to some guy who ended up being in a carnival, and I struck up a conversation with him, and he invited me to come go with them to the carnival if my mom would let me and go tour with them. And I begged my mom, I begged her, and she told me up front she would think about it. But she knew she was going to say no. And anyways, I did not know as a kid that what I was asking to go away with the carnival, the carnies, was an unreasonable request. But there's tons of stories like that. I don't know. I don't know if I should even be telling you all this stuff.
That's kind of scary, actually. Like just carny. I mean, at least he didn't take you, and you had the opportunity to ask your mom.
So. We talked about it, and I was angry with her for a little while, finding out that she knew she was going to say no. But now that I'm an adult and I can look back on everything with adult eyes, it kind of makes me chuckle that I always had these adventures going. I always had these, I started this business going door to door selling tie-dye to the neighbors. I mean, it was always something with me, and still to this day. I mean, the newscast was just kind of an idea I had after discovering open broadcaster software, OBS, and I saw what OBS could do. And having worked in the news industry, because during undergrad at UCF, I worked for some TV news stations there, volunteered at WFTV and worked at WESH. And so I saw what was needed to do these live newscasts. And quite honestly, OBS can do everything. Like, one person who knows OBS well could theoretically do their own newscast. And that's kind of where the inclination for the newscast came from. And yeah, but honestly, it was just one Saturday. I was like, told Dave and Isaac, hey, I'm going to try and produce this. And I did the open, and it just came together really well. And it was a hit. I loved it. It was like a drug. I had to produce more, and I had to do it quickly. And I think if you can see, because we've only been doing this for like 3 months now, and if you look at from the very beginning, to what we're putting out now, there's definitely progression of there's so much you learn along the way.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask the both of you, I mean, you're doing this show,
Mhm.
like talk a little bit about what you've had to learn in order to be able to do all this stuff. Is it scheduling? Because I mean, it's what, 8 a.m. here. Amanda, it's 10 p.m. where you're at.
Mhm.
Alex, it's what, 1 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. So we really have had to do some coordinating, and I deal with the same thing on my show. I'm just curious what you...
I mean, I had no experience, no previous experience. I'm no journalist or like, report, whatever. I'm not a YouTuber or, anything. And I don't think Amanda had any experience. So we kind of, we're doing our best, but obviously we're not professionals or anything. We just we just two newbies. We're just trying to spread, like positivity, knowledge. We want to talk to people, so maybe someone else can, relate to the story, because everyone has a different story, and it's pretty cool to be able to, like talk to all these different people, and we all love Cardano, so that is the link.
The great unifier.
Yeah. But we had to, like, with me, up until today, Amanda has to remind me, hey, do you remember that we're having an interview tomorrow? I'm like, oh crap. Like, I think there's some things that will never change, and with me, I was always like this. So sorry, Amanda. But,
She's the weaker link.
I am totally. I mean, I am totally a weak link.
No, I love Alex. Like, she's so funny, but she's also really spontaneous. Like that week that she left me to go to Africa. I mean, there was
that week. Didn't that week turn into like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that?
I don't even know. All I know is I had a whole bunch of stuff scheduled and she blew me off. So, but for me, I'm naturally an inquisitive person, so I can just like ask people questions, and I'm always like curious. So I can come up with anything and talk to anybody. It doesn't matter. No experience with YouTube, but I have lots of experience with coordinating time zones from living in Korea and having to talk to family in the States, and being like a health and wellness coach. I coach people all over the world, like Europe and the US as well. So I always use that app for like overlapping time zones and seeing when's the best time for everybody. And so that came in handy when I'm scheduling all these interviews with different people all over. So, but yeah, like, I think that we're doing okay, and we're getting to know a lot of people, and it's a lot of fun. And I'll always just ping Alex like about 24 hours in advance, like, do you know if we have an interview? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do interviews. There's no time I don't do interviews, right? Because we're talking to people from all over the world, and everyone's on a different time zone. What really confuses me is when the day itself is different. And we'll talk just a couple hours earlier, and they'll use words like tomorrow or today. And I'm thinking, and I've missed several, well, not missed, because anytime they know, they reach out to me, I'm like, I stop whatever I'm doing. But you don't want to do an interview like that where you're playing catch up. You want to do an interview where like you are prepared, you got everything. When you're flustered, that's not how you want to do an interview. But so I have done interviews anytime. And that's why I'm always, another secret here, that shirt. I mean, I'm only ever wearing it for 15 minutes at a time. But like, sometimes I do an interview a week or, much earlier than shooting the studio part for the show. And you really kind of want that studio part to be as close to the air date as possible, so that you can get any little like relevant tidbits that are timely, like in there. But you never really, and I was, at the beginning of the show, when I was doing it, I was, changing my shirt, and it just became such a chore keeping up with who I'm interviewing and what day they're going, and I just wear the same one, dry cleaned.
Yep.
Or I'll go to Men's Warehouse here soon
buy a whole
and
bunch.
pick up just 3 of the same one or something like that.
Yeah.
A good idea. I think men they have been easy, honestly, with choosing the clothes and that. Like, I don't know, with us we used to wear similar color, like coordinated, you know, tops or whatever. But now I don't care anyway. Anymore. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know, whatever I'm wearing today, I'm just like going on the interview.
Yeah.
And
I think you should get that shirt that Rick was wearing.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite shirt. Oh my God, it's the best. It's so good.
Yeah.
So okay. So you said you were in journalism in the Army for like 7 years, yeah? So while you were there, what is the most interesting project that you had?
Gosh, there were a lot of interesting projects. It's really hard to narrow down all of them, but I'll talk to you about one that's come to mind. So I was at Fort Campbell, and I was working in the public affairs office. And Dolly Parton, so Fort Campbell is in Kentucky, but it's right on the border of Tennessee and pretty close to Nashville, which I think is where Dolly Parton calls home. And anyways, she was doing a tour for an album she released that was very patriotic. I don't remember if it was specifically for military folks or if it was just a patriotic thing, but she was kind of touring military bases. And I found out she was coming, and it was on a Saturday, so no one was really scheduled to work. And no one was really pushing me to do it, but I wanted to meet Dolly. So I reached out to her public affairs people, and originally they had said, no, she's not gonna have time. And I was like, look, I have the ability to put something on our news channel, which can reach the whole community. So she can give me 10 minutes and get a message out to everyone in the community, or she can just, you know, meet as many people as she has time to in this big long line to sign her album. And so then they were like, a lot of times in public affairs, that's what it boils down to. You got to sell stuff, what you want. And so they was like, okay, we could do that. So, and I was kind of a green journalist, fresh out of AIT. And one of the things they harped in the school was your mic needed to always be underneath and come out and clip. Like, you never wanted to just hang the microphone on their garment and like hang it down. That's very unprofessional. And anyways, that's just a little bit of background you need to know. Dolly comes in, big as a minute. I mean, she's tiny, and she's wearing this rhinestone studded garment. It's a onesie, and I didn't know what to do because there was nothing going up underneath her garment, like for the mic. So I just panicked, and I handed her the mic, and I said, Dolly, can you put this on? And she grabs it. She's got these nails, and she's grabbing it. She goes, oh, you do it, hun. So there I was. It was a surreal moment. And I mean, she's got this bosom that's like comes way out there. And so I just like, I squeezed that microphone clip just as wide as it would go, and I got it on there and just threw it over her shoulder. And yeah, it was probably one of the most.
That is so funny. Oh
That's fantastic. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was good. Oh, don't be shy. Oh my gosh, Dolly Parton. I just love that woman.
Oh my gosh. No, that's great.
Yeah, I agree.
They can be expensive.
They can be very expensive. They can be so expensive.
Yes.
Let's talk about crypto. So,
yes.
when did you first get into crypto, and why?
So a good friend of mine who I work with, he is a good friend of mine. That's all I should say. He was into Bitcoin, and he had been talking about Bitcoin. And I just made a mental note that I need to like look into this. And so I can remember one weekend I was super bored, and I don't know, I Googled Bitcoin, or I Googled cryptocurrency or something. And this is right before Bitcoin hit 20 grand. and it was quite a bit of hype. And I remember buying, I don't know, I just signed up for a Coinbase account, I think. I don't even know who I signed up with, because I'm trying to gather all that stuff and get a ledger together, and I really did not know what the heck I was doing. But I bought some Ethereum, and it went from like $400 to $700, and I had made like $300, easiest money I've ever made in my life. And then I was hooked. I like Facebooked Ethereum, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. And then every one of my friends who was into cryptos, you know, different people started responding. And then I was just kind of hooked. And I remember when I first started, I was just buying anything. I just was gonna, you know, and I started researching, and just the more I did it, I started to focus on 3 different coins. And it was Cardano, Ripple, and Stellar. Actually, and I gotta admit, Tron was in there too in the very beginning, and so was Verge, now that I think about it. And so I gotten it down to like 5 or 6, but not Bitcoin. I was like, I mean, Bitcoin was too expensive, right? I did not have that kind of money. I don't remember what it was at the time, but it was really expensive. And anyways, so yeah, I just started focusing on those coins. And then when Verge like made the deal with the porn site, I was like, and I sold it. And I sold it, I think, at like 7 cents. I mean, it went way, way down. So I didn't do too bad on that. But anyways, fast forward, and now, well, about last year, I started to want a Bitcoin. And I started to kind of get some FOMO about that. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to make it a goal. And I figured it would take me a couple of years, but it didn't really. It took me, Bitcoin not too long back was like 5,800. And that's kind of when I picked mine up. Most of it, 75% of it. 80% of it.
Yeah, so for the people that are watching, and what I would like to say, you can always buy a fraction of Bitcoin. So that way you can stack some sats, right? Or like whatever, you can get to 1 Bitcoin, then to another Bitcoin, or whatever. So you don't have to buy the whole Bitcoin in order to hold or own Bitcoin, right? But that's interesting. I also got some Bitcoins when we had that crash in March.
Those are the only 2 coins I own now. Over that time, I eventually sold the Ripple. I eventually sold the Stellar, and everything. Now it's just Cardano and Bitcoin.
So
I do keep an eye on Stellar, though. I love what they're doing. I think Jeb McCaleb is a ingenious software developer, and but I'm all in on Cardano, really. And well, I mean, except for that Bitcoin, but just gotta have one, just gotta have one. So
why Cardano?
Well, I mean, have you seen Charles's whiteboard video? And I mean, that's what hooked me.
What whiteboard video are you talking about?
You're kidding, right?
I am kidding.
I was like, let's not have this moment. That's almost as bad as losing your train of thought. But I have to say, I'm really quite nervous. I'm surprised. I don't normally get nervous. But I am surprisingly, even still now, what are we, 20, 30 minutes in? Oh
my goodness.
I find myself shaking.
You're too cute. No. All right. So you love the whiteboard video and you got hooked. I mean, the whiteboard video is awesome. He explains it in such a way that it's like, what,
Yeah, and at the time we were going to get Shelly a lot earlier, right? I don't know if we had gotten a realistic expectation, like 2020, 2021 for Kogan. I don't know that. I don't know. I wonder, actually. But at the time when I discovered that whiteboard video, he was saying, it was just a couple quarters away. And I get it. Things come up. I don't hold any grudges. Yeah, I'd rather things be done properly and work properly, and it take longer than for something to rush to market. Yeah, so I was absolutely hooked, and I kept going to that first calculator that came out that was wildly inaccurate. and doing the math and figuring out if I can remember it was like, I think I had like 1,000 or 2,000, and I kept thinking if I just had 10,000 ADA, if I just had that round number. So then I would like figure out how to get 10,000 ADA, and then it would be like, if I could just get 25,000 ADA, and then, it would just be, and I can remember when I passed that threshold. I know we're not supposed to talk about how much we got, blah, 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 whatever.
It's fine.
I do all the security precautions, but anyways, I can remember when I first got 100,000 Cardano, I was so proud of myself. I reached out to Philippe. I just had to tell someone, and I couldn't be any of my friends or family because they were so sick of hearing about Cardano, this thing that they knew nothing about and did not care about, but I was just wildly passionate about. It was ultimately what led me to the DC meetup group, which is where I met Dave and Isaac. Because I couldn't talk about Cardano with anyone, and I would get on, Telegram only scratches so much of an itch, and so I found the DC meetup, and that was before COVID, so we met in person a few times, and it just kind of clicked with Dave and Isaac right away. Isaac was already running a pool on the ITN, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and the newscast wasn't even a twinkle in my eye at that point. Just knew that Isaac was running a pool, and I didn't stake with him right away. Dave did. Anyways, we kept going to the meetups, and after some dialogue, at that time it was thought, the scuttlebutt was, in order to compete with the big pools, you were going to have a pledge of $1 million. And so none of us had $1 million, but all three of us together did, and we decided to get that together. Now, A-Naught it doesn't matter, and hopefully it will, though, in the future. We'll see. So yeah, we pooled resources, and then it was like, okay, what can I bring to the table? And I had just started learning about what OBS was all about. And I don't know, when I first discovered what OBS could do, and that you didn't need a whole newsroom full of people to do a newscast, it wasn't like I had that conscious thought in my head. Maybe it happened subconsciously, but I immediately started pricing teleprompters and looking for a teleprompter. And I don't do anything small, right? You can get teleprompters for your iPhone that are like this big. I wanted a prompter like what we had in the newsrooms I worked at, ones that I had worked off of when I was at the anchor desk. So yeah, I started looking on eBay and on Amazon. I found a Chinese vendor and it looked beautiful. It was $800 though. And but it was an eBay Chinese thing, and man, it was a risk, I'll tell you. And and it came in 2 different packages, but I didn't know it was coming in 2 different packages on 2 different days. So when I opened up the first package, and I was like, I can't, what I don't know how to put this together. Everything was in Chinese, and I was just heartbroken. But day later, I got another package, and it was everything else, and everything just worked. Plugged it right in, the monitor came on, it was already like mirrored, and hooked my camera up to it, and I was like, all right, this looks like this will work. And I think that following Saturday, I woke up and said, I'm gonna try this, and I did. And yeah, like I said, it's become my drug. I really enjoy doing it.
And it's awesome. Yeah, so
thank you.
You've kind of already answered one of my questions, where like the origin story of the Cardano update, right? So so what's the kind of the future plans for that? Like, how's it going?
So the newscast itself, I hope to continue going forward. Like I said, I don't know if we mentioned this already. I know we talked about it offline a little bit. And I'm not sure when this is going to broadcast, but we are recording this Monday. Tomorrow, I've got a newscast that's coming out. It's probably going to be at a different point, so don't listen to me talking about time. But I'm going to announce that your Cardano update is going to 2 days a week as opposed to 3. So the past few months, we've been doing 3 episodes, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I'm going to change that to Tuesday and Friday. And the reason for that is there's other projects I want to work on, video projects for the YouTube channel. Yeah, I would like to, like I said, dip into some live stuff maybe, and also some educational. You know, that's a big gap in our YouTube channel right now. Is we've got this newscast, and I'm, you know, dedicated to that, but it's at a pretty high level, right? I mean, in order to kind of follow most of the things, you need to be an SPO with some, you know, a pretty good understanding of the development environment and all of the things going on. And second to that might be delegates, and they're going to be a little bit less as informed as the SPOs. And so, you know, I shared this newscast with a lot of colleagues and family and people that I respected, and I got a lot of the same feedback. You know, it looks polished, it looks good. You know, the format's decent, but I don't understand at all what you're talking about. And so there should probably be some educational stuff, and there's already tons of educational stuff out there. But I would like to work on some educational stuff specific to your Cardano update and our stake pool. And I would like to, yeah, just do some different things. You know, when your Cardano update came out, I don't really know that there's anyone else doing anything like our format. Lots of shows out there, lots of talk shows, and there's this movement to a longer format type product. I didn't see anything going towards a shorter format. And I wanted something that was shorter, you know, something I didn't have to commit an hour to, and kind of get a varied. And so it was just a very natural fit. I try to make the run times of each episode 10 minutes, but I fail miserably often. I mean,
we fail.
I fail, and I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. That's not like I'm getting paid, so I'm allowed to fail.
Yeah, we agree with that. So you are also a stake pool operator. If you could go back in time, would you have any advice that you would have given to yourself in the early days of investing, being a stake pool operator, and running your podcast?
Oh, wow. Gosh, Alex, that's a lot to unpack. What would I tell the younger me? Stay away from BitConnect. Just buy Bitcoin and Cardano, like ignore the others and the noise. Let's see, as far as I don't have any regrets with the ITN. So I didn't stake with Isaac during the incentivized testnet. I went and found a 0% pool and struck up a relationship with the SPO of that, who he decided he wasn't going to do it, continue on. His thing was Theta, which is a kind of like a YouTube Sony. I don't know a lot about it, but he was running pool for each. But anyways, during that time, and I realized that he wasn't as committed to the stake pool as I had wanted him to be, because I was offering to do videos for him, and you know, the video is just kind of in my DNA, it's in my blood. And so I find that whatever I'm passionate about, I end up in some way, shape, or form producing video about it. And yeah, so yeah, I don't want to ramble. You guys, all right, cool.
So, like, how do you balance all the things? I know that I have a problem. I don't have a problem, but you know, everyone has a problem with time management and balance and whatever. You know, I have family, I have work, I have this, I have my health coaching stuff. You know, what do you do to balance and then like also like rest and decompress?
So there's no balance, I don't think, at all, especially when you're, you know, setting the alarm for 1:30 in the morning to do an interview at 3 a.m. There's not much balance. It's tricky. I mean, I've also got my day job, and that requires a lot of time and attention. There's a lot of meetings, and you know, doing interviews remotely is a whole different skill set that I've never really had to look at. But with COVID-19, I mean, it's changing lives. It's changing all of our lives and how we do things. So no balance at all. But fortunately, I am able to kind of maintain. You know, I was entertaining the idea of starting working on another degree. I went so far as to register and sign up for the class and get my books. And when I went into the class and I looked at the time commitment and the required reading and all of I had to kind of draw it out on paper, and something was going to have to give. It was going to either have to be the newscast or my full-time job, which I got to have that, or the school program. So I decided not to do the school. You know, I can do that later if I want, but I'm really enjoying the newscast. And so, yeah, I guess I kind of like it with there being very little balance. It kind of keeps me, you know, looking for what's coming next and keeps me paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of program was it? Was it a master's program?
Oh, it was a PhD in strategic media at Liberty University. And it was super cheap because of the military background. It was only going to be $300 a credit. So just the tuition was going to be like 18 grand. I mean, that's an associate degree.
Yeah.
But I would really like to do it at some point. But right now, like, it would literally require at least 3 or 4 hours a day, and maybe more. And it's just, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. And so,
like, I struggle right now because, like, I started my master's program for applied nutrition because I'm nutrition. But it requires reading, you know, like 20 some hours of work and reading a week. And it's
then
really
writing?
hard. Was that?
And then writing, you got to go into the forums and you got to write the papers and you got to do the.
I don't have a problem with that, actually. Like, I'm a pretty, like, decent, just spit out the papers, but I have to read. You have to actually read the thing, right? And with me not sleeping right now with all of my family stuff going on, like, it's just too hard because I'm not sleeping, so I can't read, you know. So I don't know if I told you.
Benadryl and melatonin.
Like, was that?
That's what I do. I said Benadryl and melatonin.
That would be so rough. I'm gonna have to probably do that to re-sleep train, you know, because, like, I don't know if I told you, James, but my mother-in-law just passed away a couple of weeks ago, and so my family has been split. Like, my husband was in America, I've been here, working on things that I can online while he's on the ground there helping the family there, and he just got back, so he has another week in quarantine, and it's just me doing all the things in the house with the kids and my school, and, you know, it's a mess. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of stress, a lot of stressful things going on. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, thanks.
I told her we can just, you know, stop our interviews just for like weeks, whatever.
She's like, we can just stop. And I'm like, life doesn't stop, Alex. We have to keep going. So it's
like,
okay.
I mean, you know, she's gonna handle everything and she will be fine. But, you know, if she's saying she will be fine, she will be fine. We're strong. We are.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
I wonder what would happen if, like, something huge like that came up in my life. I would have to put the show on pause, you know, for a week or two. But I know that would be a gut-wrenching thing to do.
Sometimes in life, you know, life is throwing things at you and you have to choose. And, you know, when you're overloading yourself, it may not end up well sometimes, you know. So we need to know where to say stop for a second, you know, where to pause for a second. That's how I see it, because sometimes people are taking too much to handle, and then that's when the mental health is going down the roof, or just, you know, yeah, our health in general. So it's okay to say, I'm putting this on hold for a minute, and then I will get back to it, because you know.
It's okay. I'll just sleep when my husband comes back home. It's okay, guys. You know, one more week.
Yeah, you've got this. I'm sure you've got this.
Yeah.
I was curious because Alex, you have a bit of an interest in financial things, and that explains why you are smartly into Cardano. But I'm curious, are there any other projects that you've kind of had your eye on that definitely are not getting as much limelight as Cardano, but still have your attention?
So what caught my attention a few months ago was CRO token, crypto.com. And to be honest, I've invested quite a bit into it because you can lock your, you can stake with them. You can lock your funds for 3 or 6 months, and the return on investment was something like 16%. So I knew it's not sustainable, but you know, I thought they're doing really good. They've got Visa cards, MCO, I think MCO Visa cards, which you can basically use anywhere in the world. So I thought they're doing really good. They've got really user-friendly app, but actually what happened, the price of the coins start dropping like really rapidly, and obviously when your funds are locked, you can't really do anything with that. So it kind of gave me a lesson, just because when you're locking your funds and you're not holding your own you know, funds in your own wallet, then you don't have much control over it. So what happened, they had 2 coins initially. They had MCO and CRO, and then they've got rid of MCO, and they've asked people to swap MCO for CRO at and the rate was quite not really that good, you know. So people really didn't like it, and what they did, they also raised the amount of CRO you need to hold in order to get the card or something like this. So people really didn't like it, so the price started falling. I think it was like I don't know how much in cents, but it was like over 10p, I reckon, and it fell to like 0.05 or whatever, something, I don't know. But it really, you know, so with this, I've learned my lessons with that coin, which you know, anything can happen. It can go up, it can go down. It is really volatile. But if I don't have trust in something or as much knowledge, I rather not touch it just because of the FOMO, you know.
Sure.
So Bitcoin is, you know, which I think is an old technology, but it will always be around. That's how I see it, and it's a hedge against the inflation. And you know, you can buy gold, but you're not going to, you know, fly with your suitcase full of gold, but you can basically send Bitcoin from one place to another, like over the globe. So you can do this with gold. So it's really in life, you know, doesn't matter whether you really believe in the project, in the coin, whatever, anything can happen. The life already showed us, you know, with Corona and that the unexpected things may come. So that's how I see it. I am into, maybe I'm not passionate about other projects. I like Bitcoin, and I like, you know, projects like Polkadot, but my faith lays in Cardano, but I do hold different crypto. God, I went on really a long ramble.
No, it's great. It's fascinating to know. I mean, you know, someone who's into finance, I always love hearing their honest opinion about what has their attention. What about you, Amanda? You got any other projects other than Cardano?
Not really. I'm the one who's like my origin story was I was just thrown into this, right? So my husband and friend, they were the one who's talking about crypto, and he has the ledger, he has the other things that he was dabbling in. They're the ones who are all like, you go make the stake pool, you know. It's just like, say what? You know, like, what's a stake pool? So but yes, he I believe has like Chainlink and Ripple as well, and some Bitcoin, and a Litecoin, I think. So, but mostly Cardano, because I just keep buying more Cardano. So like, I think we're mostly Cardano. But yeah, like, it's not me. So I'm not like, I know that we're invested in other things, and I can see our portfolios, but I manage the bank accounts, and he manages the investments, if that makes sense. You know, so we have
it's funny, when I got into this, when I got into crypto, I definitely had visions of becoming like super rich. I mean, I would fantasize about the catamaran that I was going to buy, the electric catamaran, and just sail the globe. And as we've moved forward, and I've, created this newscast and met Dave and Isaac in this stake pool, even if I were hacked and got wiped out of everything, and it took me years to get the bags that I have. But even if that was what fate had in store for me, I would still feel like I came out ahead because of the friendships that I've made and this newscast and just doing something completely out of my comfort zone, and just really enjoying it. So I really feel like, and this may be a bit cliche, but I've gotten the rewards from crypto that I was hoping for, not quite expecting, but definitely what I was hoping for. So anything else is icing on the cake. It would be really cool. Of course, everyone has their dream. But, say Cardano got to $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, and I just became like uber rich. First thing I'm going to do is buy Amanda's chair. She doesn't think so, but I'm getting that chair. Second thing, I would probably just like build a super fancy studio and like kick up your Cardano update, get some staff and like really turn it into something, because that is just so personally satisfying to work on that. I can't explain it.
I don't know. I think that we should just, or people should just take easy with, like price speculations and like this FOMO or whatever, because like it's gonna, whatever's gonna happen, you shouldn't invest more than you can afford to lose. That's how I see it. And and you should just
everyone says that. I think it's garbage.
You think
I could not. Yeah. I can't afford to lose $1 that I earn.
Yeah.
I mean, I work very hard for my money. So this idea that like, don't invest what you can't afford to lose, like, I don't know how much money you can afford to lose, but I can't afford to lose 1 red cent.
Yeah,
well, like,
no,
I think that it's like, if you can go to McDonald's and buy a cheeseburger or something, then instead of buying the cheeseburger, put that $5 into crypto. You can afford to lose that, right? Because you could go home and eat what's in your fridge, but no, you're choosing to eat a McDonald's burger. That's something that I think
I was a little more nefarious about what I did. Like, I would get these checks from Chase and all my different creditors, like 0% for 15 months, just pay a 4% transaction charge.
Yeah.
So I would buy, I started buying like 100,000 Cardano, 300,000 Cardano one time, and just writing these checks. So like, while Chase and Bank of America are banning people for doing business with Coinbase, like, I'm using their checks, depositing it into my checking account, and then like doing it all, buying all this crypto with credit. And I did that for
dangerous,
like
though, because basically you're like buying crypto with loans, So
pretty much on the backs of the credit card companies and the banks. I love it.
I appreciate your honesty, and there is a good debt and bad debt. So we need to understand that good debt is where you are, using the debt to invest in something long term or whatever. But bad debt is when you are taking debt and buying a car or buying new TV.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or
So-
clothes,
And
or
how
going
did
to
that work
restaurants.
out for how did that work out for the returns exactly? Because your interest generating here and this appreciation here, they don't exactly match up.
Amanda, it was awful. At one point, and I had been doing it for a while, at one point my portfolio was worth less than the amount of money that I owed. I think at the height of it, I owed like 16 grand at one point, and my portfolio, and I was at a friend's house sneaking a look at my phone and the numbers, you know how that goes when you're addicted to the charts. And it finally went under what, it was below what I owed the credit card companies, and I just wanted to cry. But I still knew in my soul, in every atom of my body, that this is worth investing in. It doesn't look positive right now, but it has in the past. It fluctuates always. Like, I gotta keep going with this. I gotta keep going with this. And then, you know, now I'm definitely, I think I'm ahead. If I'm not ahead, I'm very close to being breaking even.
That's good.
But again, what it's ushered into my life was unimaginable, and I'm less concerned about the price. In fact, now I barely pull Coin Tracker up anymore. I have lately, past couple times, since Bitcoin's gotten up to 15 grand.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine that? Like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while there, I just didn't have time. Didn't even have time. So
yeah.
So, like, you know, dollar cost averaging, I think is good. And no,
I have no clue. So I've got a crypto accountant, and we're going to work on my ledger this year. And so I will at least be able to look at a chart and do the math and tell you. But the thing is, like I said, I was doing business with all the exchanges, some of them more legit than others. And when you're trying to come up with an official ledger that you can present to the IRS and figure your taxes out based on it, and you have to have a very thorough accounting of every single transaction. And some of these exchanges no longer are doing business, and the IRS is asking a lot with not a lot of clarity on what it is they're expecting. And so anyways, it's just a big fat mess because I can't account for every single tiny transaction that was done. But we're going to try and get as close as we can this year. And so I can answer that question again in a year, what my dollar cost averaging of Cardano was. I want to say it's pretty low because I bought, you know, Cardano was at 2 cents for a while, you know, a couple times, if I'm not mistaken.
Lucky people.
And I know. I mean, I know. But even still, Cardano at 10 cents is a steal for what we're going to get in February with Goguen. And people are going to start developing smart contracts, and people are going to finally see the usability, the utility of the Cardano blockchain. When we start seeing, you know, the dApp store and data lists and what these dApps are capable of. It's going to be, you know, every once in a while, YouTube suggests a video by Philippe. It's titled "Why I Think 2019 is going to be the year of Cardano," or something like that. And I always chuckle about that because I don't even think 2020 was the year of Cardano. Even that's when we got Shelley. I think the real year of Cardano is going to be next year once we have Goguen and the implementation of Voltaire. I mean, we have looked at cryptocurrencies, Ethereum Classic, really struggle with governance. And Cardano, I think, couldn't be more methodical and more researched and more, you know, with their formal methods, more able to pull that off than any other cryptocurrency out there, than any other, even, you know, I'd like to compare it to, you know, our own governance issues with the United States, you know, right now. Imagine if the presidential election were conducted on the Cardano blockchain, and we would not be having this mess, a contested election, slightly contested, I don't know what you'd call it. It's it's an absolute mess, but it's unnecessary because we could do a presidential election for no cost to anyone, you know, basically on the Cardano blockchain. In fact, you know, the Cardano's got a voting app that's coming out. Charles announced it. I downloaded it. It's not quite ready for prime time, but it's going to reward you for voting.
Yeah.
So there's incentive for you to vote. And I don't know, we are, the whole world is ripe for disruption thanks to blockchain. And I just truly believe in my heart of hearts that Cardano can do it. And what's more, Cardano can do what all of these specialized cryptocurrencies can do, Chainlink, Theta. You know, you've got these very specialized crypto. Well, I think you can build those platforms right on top of Cardano. And why would you want a whole separate network? You know, all these different infrastructures running things, especially when interoperability is important. So I don't know. I think next year is going to be the real shining star year of Cardano. And that's why, Angels, you guys continue to produce, because when that explosion happens, there's going to be an influx of people wanting to be part of this, and they're going to be looking for content. And the longer you can produce and interview all of the players and
yeah, I
you
want
know,
to get to know, like, to use your words, I want to get to know the SPOs. You know, I want to get to know the members of the community. Like, I'm super jelly that you got Suzanne on your show, because I wanted to have her on my show, and she's like, I don't do that kind of thing, but you know, it's fine. It's
well,
fine.
that took a lot of work,
Yeah,
by
you
the
said
way.
that,
And then
but you
even
know, I talked to her a
even
lot.
the fact that I'm saying that, Dave was like, you don't need to tell people that. He's so funny. He's
No,
telling me what I should
a
and
lot,
shouldn't
like,
say.
and we zoomed a lot too. Like, she's really awesome. So, but yeah,
Really
like,
out of the box, Ajira is.
and she's just so smart, like, and like analytical. Like, I love it. Like, we get along really well. But like,
well, you know that that something's going on when I don't normally get dislikes on the newscast. Occasionally I'll get one or two, but on her show I got some dislikes.
Really?
And I took that. I wore that as a badge of honor, because that just meant it pulled some people's covers. You know, because what she spoke, I thought was truth, and she did it in a very gentle, non-confrontational, non-argumentative way. She just kind of pointed it out, the facts as she saw them. And yeah, some people didn't like that, and they disliked the video, and I was like, yes, awesome, that's so cool. I don't know, I'm always like that kind of stuff.
But
so regarding like the parameters and everything that is changing in Cardano, like, what is your opinion? What are your views on the K parameter that is changing? So the saturation level will vary like a lot. It will drop from
210 million to 64 million, I believe.
4 million, which is loads, and then in March it's gonna drop to 30.
Yeah,
it's half that,
with
like
the K
32,
being
right?
1,000.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
You know, Alex, I'm still out to lunch on this. You know, I'm talking to a lot of people about it, and I really, you know, it's a very fluid thing. Definitely K parameter needs to be adjusted, if you ask me. This is definitely a plan moving forward. I don't know that with the K parameter going to 500 and eventually 1,000, that I don't know that we should be giving stake pool operators a lot of heat for starting up second pools. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about that. If a stake pool operator has a group of delegators that want to delegate to them, and say that the pool that they're offering is oversaturated with all of that, because the K parameter is becoming what it's becoming, that kind of situation is going to become more common. So I don't know, you know, I watch and see all of the heat Rick is taking for operating 3 stake pools. I'm looking, some people are doing more than 3, and some people are, and so, you know, the question is, should we do that? Should United Stakes of Cardano do that? And I'm curious what you guys, you know, you're both stake pool operators. What are your thoughts? But we are definitely talking about it. When they initiate that K to 500 in December, there's going to be kind of, I mean, I see mass chaos, because people are going to realize, I would say, you know, a lot of people are going to realize, oh my gosh, the pool that I'm delegating to is oversaturated. I need to move. Everyone's going to be moving at the same time. Oh my gosh, the pool that was not oversaturated when I joined is now oversaturated. I need to move. And so there's going to kind of be pandemonium. And so if a stake pool operator right now has one pool, wants to prepare for that doomsday scenario, they should be spinning up other pools. They don't want to be doing it in the midst of that. They want to be doing it probably now. But again, I don't know. It's a very controversial thing. You've got people who are screaming, if you have more than one pool, you are going against the spirit of decentralization. And
you know how I see it, people that are screaming this, you know, they don't have delegators, they don't have stake. Will they be screaming that if they would be like in Rick's shoes? I don't know. Like, would they? You know, it's I think it's a frustration. That is like they trying to like locate it in the wrong way, or I don't know how to express that, but it's just, I think everyone should do what's best for the individual. So if you feel like you are able to fill your stake pool with delegators, and the saturation thing is a problem for you because then your pool is oversaturated, in my opinion, if you feel like you want to open another stake pool, you shouldn't be shamed for doing this, because I mean, it's not your fault that someone else don't have delegators.
the delegates, yeah.
You know,
and that's part of the challenge with these pools, is getting the delegates. You know, you got to do something to set yourself apart, as there are a lot of stake pools, and there's a lot of content producers, and there's a lot of people producing shows, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. And so if you want to, you know, set yourself apart in this market, you got to kind of do something different. And yeah, that's some people are not going to be happy about it. I really don't, and things are going to change so rapidly that I don't think that there's going to be any permanent damage done. I don't see the dust settling on the Cardano network for a while. Could be years, you know, especially with you know, Gauguin coming out, Voltaire, and then we're going to see a rapid development of advanced smart contracts. We're going to see smart contracts do more and more and more. And so, yeah, I think right now it's just kind of interesting to sit back and watch and see what other people are doing. Again, me and Dave and Isaac are constantly chit-chatting about what's going on and what we should do. We recently just lowered our fee for our stake pool. We went from 3.5% to, which for the ITN, that was cheap, right? Like cheap. But now with the that mandatory fee that allows stake pool operators to go to zero if they want to, because it can be somewhat sustainable, especially if Cardano were to go up in price just even a little bit. So I don't know, we're definitely trying to bring in more delegates, but it's definitely a fluid environment right now, and things are going to change every quarter. What delegates are going to do, it'll be interesting to see just how responsive delegates are after that initial K parameter change, because we are seeing some stake pools that are no longer producing blocks that still have delegates.
Right.
Because
so
people who are
kind of like what I was going to say, like my opinion is definitely less popular than everyone else's, you know, so it's a little darker. It's like,
let's hear it.
So I don't care that other pools want to start you know, their own multiple pools. That's their right to do so. However, I do think that there should be a cost. Like there should be a cost to have second pools, or just raise a knot altogether, or have a really high cost for pool deposits, you know? So, because then it would incentivize people to close their pools properly, like retire them properly, not walk away from such a high amount, you know, those type of things, right? I also don't agree that it's going to be as chaotic as maybe you predict, because there are such people that just stake it and leave it. So they're just going to stay there and not move, you know, because they're not going to know, they're not paying attention, you know. So you do have the ones who are like popcorns and that go all over, but there's a lot that just kind of stay put because they're not watching, you know. And I know this because like you see the pools that are retired, and the guys are just sitting there with millions in their pools, right? And then you see the people like I'm on the Facebook forums and I'm on the Twitter forums and stuff. They're asking where should they go because they just want to set it and forget it. They say it. They want to do that, you know. So so like there's those things. I personally probably not going to start a second pool right away. I will definitely just be watching first, you know. But yeah, I feel like my opinion is definitely not the more popular one.
No, but I mean, those are some good ideas. You know, that's a solution I've not heard before to pools shutting down properly. You know, creating an incentive for them to do that.
I think Rick has mentioned that in
we talked about it with Rick.
Yeah.
So because we were talking about our opinions about the same thing, and like I think that raising a knot is definitely really, really controversial because a lot of people don't have the money to put down a higher pledge, right? So part of the attractiveness of becoming stake pool operator is there is no minimum pledge, right? Anybody can do it. That's the slogan right now. But it's like, but then there's nothing stopping making multiple pools because you can just make so many, right? Because there's nothing stopping you. So if you want to control that, then you have to
cost of,
you know,
computing resources.
So, and yeah, so I think raising it is fine. That's my opinion. So.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see. I mean, it'll be, we should have this conversation this time next year. We'll know a lot more.
I think whatever they decide, they are going to be unhappy people either way. So you can make everyone happy, and that's it really. It's tough, but it is what it is. Like whatever you do, if you raise the pledge, then the people that are actually like, you know, they can afford to invest as much as others, but they are still as passionate and they want to help and they want to run. Like a lot of people, like not a lot of people, but I have seen some stake pool operators in Africa, and some of them, they can afford the pledge, like really high or higher pledge. And it would be really sad to see if they are not able to run a stake pool anymore because of the pledge requirement. So, you know.
What they offer that I can't offer is location. Yeah. So they can run a stake pool in Africa, and someone might have incentive, a Cardano holder in Africa might have incentive to stake with them just because the physical location of that processor, that computing power is there in Africa. You know, I'm not sure. Obviously we want to, and that brings up another detail. You know, just because a stake pool runs multiple pools, that doesn't necessarily mean that those pools are all running on the same virtual machine. I mean, you could choose, you know, in Australia and then the United States and then Alaska, and you could kind of have geopolitical diversity in your pools. It doesn't necessarily mean that decentralization is going down the tubes.
No, but I think this is like this became some sort of like a slogan, like you're going against decentralization. I think this is just their way of expressing, because what else can you say to people with multiple pools? Like what else can you?
Well, like you were saying earlier, Alex, I think it's a lot of just displaced frustration, right? They don't have it, so they're angry at the ones who do have it, right? And then they can't stop them spinning up multiple pools. which
Mm.
they're wishing that their spillover would spill over into them, but it's not going to happen because they're creating their own contingencies for their spillover. So it's like they were wanting one thing, but what's going to happen is completely different. And so that's why I think that the K parameter changing isn't really going to change much, but that's just what I think. So.
Well, we will certainly see. I mean, it's going to be interesting when IOG disbands their pools or makes them private. There's going to be a lot of delegation that's going to need to go elsewhere. So there's still opportunity out there. None of us really know, you know, what the future
So I feel
holds.
like that might be like the biggest flux. Like in my opinion, the IOG pools needing to find other homes, that I can see. But the bigger pools that have like almost full saturation, then just having pools to catch that, I don't see that changing. Like that's no. But
But like there are pool operators like Kaizen. I've watched his latest like video, and he said that he's not going to open another pool just for now. So what he's going to do, he's going to support smaller stake pools in order to let them grow a bit, and then maybe at one point, you know, he may open one. But I think, you know, this is really individual, and I think that can also help small stake pool operators. If someone like you know, Kaizen or someone that is running YouTube channel or have like quite big you know following, if they you know help smaller pools before opening their own additional pools, that may help a bit, but then you can't really force anyone, and this is just individual decision, you know. So
here's the problem, though, that I see, you know, and Susanna Gira spoke about it when I had her on the show, that there were a lot of stake pools that when the mainnet went live, like they immediately went live. And a lot of people were looking to delegate like right then and there. And then as other stake pools came online, like all the delegation was done and they didn't get any delegates. And so it's kind of a matter of being at the right place at the right time. And that's why I'm thinking, like, if you're going to do another pool or multiple pools, like it might be best to have those set up just in case it's another scenario like when Shelly Mainnet started, where like you're just going to get a one-time rush of delegates. And okay, those people who were open to starting a pool, they're just going to kind of watch and see, okay, yeah, conditions look good. They start a new pool, but the delegation's done. So I don't know. I think that there's an element of opportunity here. And again, I'm still on the fence about whether or not it's a good thing or not. It'll be interesting.
No, I agree with you, because I was one of those that didn't get in the Daedalus wallet when it first opened because of the bug. So I missed out on like that first week of people looking or like whatever. So that did hurt a bit. So
yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, we'll see. We're talking about it, Dave and Isaac and I, and we haven't really made a decision yet because it's pretty controversial. I mean, Rick is really taking some heat. I don't know if you're paying attention to the.
He's good.
I know we can handle it, but like, who wants to, you know? And I think Rick is such a great sport. You know, he came on the show and let me ask him, you know, the questions. And I am an investigative journalist at heart. I will always grab.
I watched your show.
Yeah, and just the fact that he knew I was going to ask him some pointed questions, and he let me, and I just love that. I just love that, and he didn't shy away. He answered. He didn't spin anything. He just answered everything, and you know, Rick definitely has my respect. But you know, he's been doing this for years. He's been involved with the community, helping people. And I've reached out to Rick a couple times, had a couple conversations with him over the years, and. You know, and then for him to make some of these decisions where people are deciding that they hate Rick and that he's not good for the ecosystem, and that's got to be hard. That would be hard on anyone, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So I applaud Rick for what he's doing and how he's handling everything. I may not agree with everything that he does, but it's certainly worth paying attention to, you know, and that's why I say the topic of whether or not to open up another pool or multiple pools, it's pretty controversial. Just look at the heat Rick has taken to support 2 or 3 people that might be running it. Like one stake pool, you are going to need to run 3 or 4 stake pools. At least again, the price and the conditions could change and I could be completely wrong, but it just, as I see it right now, one stake pool is just not going to cut it. You're going to need to find, if you're going to want to turn this into a full-time gig, like, I don't know that one stake pool is going to cut it.
And I mean,
completely different scenario. Like, you're not doing it because you're trying to manage your saturation level. You're doing it because you're looking at the return for yourself, you know. So I feel like that's a different topic, and something that
That's definitely one that I'm thinking. That's where my brain is at.
Well, like for me, like I'm a single operator, Alex is a single operator, you're a team, so that's a different dynamic, you know. So another variable or factors that you have to think about when people are deciding if they should do multiple pools, you know. So it's not all about, oh, I'm saturated, I want to have catch over, you know. There's so many things to consider. So
yeah.
Like, and also running costs, you know, if like I'm running at the on the virtual cloud, and I'm not even breaking even. So for you to, like, if I would have 2 or 3 another people that are in it with me, you know, then you need to think that you have to pay from your own pocket to run all these nodes, and you know. So
that is very nice. That's a great point, Alex. The fact that me, Dave, and Isaac are running this pool, whenever there's a, you know, a cost that comes up, we split it 3 ways. So it's not nearly the same cost to me that it is for you single pool operators.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, everyone should do what's best for your own, you know, for your own good. And I don't know, in my opinion, in my view, if you are considering running another pool, but just opinion of others are stopping you, then, you know, into, you know, critics would make you stronger, I think, and maybe you will do better, but they can't stop you, or they shouldn't stop you. If you want to be successful in life in general, then you shouldn't be, you know, doing things based on other people's opinion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that applies. I don't know. It doesn't really apply to me, Alex, because everything I do, everything I write, I have to think about the optics of it, right? So, like, I don't know, when I first started,
it's like you're writing for your audience, you know, because like, who's your audience? And that's what you do. That's what journalists do. Like, you have to know your audience, right? So
for instance, all right, so before I started the newscast, IOHK did a video where they had, gosh, I've forgotten her name, Brittany, I think her name was, and
from Pink
and Peyton. And one of the things they pushed when they introduced her was that she was one of the first female stake pool operators in the space. And I just remember watching that thinking, like, yeah, that's really cool that they're promoting that, because there should be more women in the space. And so when I got the newscast going, I thought, oh, that's a great topic I would like to approach.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then it just, as pure as my intentions were, it pissed some people off, the wrong people off. And fortunately, you know, someone reached out to me and let me know, you know, what some of that was. But I don't know, that just taught me that you have to be playing 3D chess when it comes to what other people are thinking and you're producing content. You got to think about not just what you think that people are going to think about, but what could be misconstrued, and just be so careful. And anytime I do a show, you know, before I even post it, I throw it up in the Telegram room for Dave and Isaac to check, and they see things that I do not.
Mhm.
And on multiple occasions, you know, we try to release the shows at 8 p.m. On more than one occasion, one of the two of them brings something up that I have to like take a step back and say, and then I'm mad rushing to rewrite and reshoot and re-edit. And so if something doesn't come out at 8 p.m. and it comes out at say like 8:30 or 9, like, you know, something like that went down. Because I'm pretty good at like staying on top of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
I meant
you know,
more to do with your additional pool. I understand when you are writing or like producing content for people, then you care about their opinion, what they want to watch, what they want to see. But like, you know, what I mean, if someone would tell you from an outsider, right? Someone who's not related to you, who don't even know your shit, right? If someone's telling you from the outside, hey, James, you know what? Your idea of like creating a content is really crap. Don't do it. You know, would you listen? That's what I'm saying. Would you listen to it?
It would hurt. It would hurt, but
I mean,
no, I wouldn't listen.
you would just create your content, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you shouldn't really. I understand creating a content for people and for them to watch. You need to know what they want to see and what they want to, you know. But for someone who's an outsider and telling you what you should do with your life decisions and career decision, business, whatever, just, you know.
I hear you. I hear you. And you're right. You're right. Like no one can, I've gotten a lot of flack about the white background, right? In the newscast, the blocks. You know, I wanted something white. First of all, I wanted red, white, and blue, or shades of red, white, and blue for the whole USA theme. But the blocks, and granted, the very first blocks for the first newscast, that was pretty loud. I went and found something a little bit more muted, and I constantly want to be changing it, but I like that that kind of look. But I've gotten a couple people who've told me that they really don't like how distracting the background is, and you know, it's something
like,
I like. I'm not going to change it because I like it, and if
I mean,
everyone else
that's
doesn't,
the point. Like you like it, and that's fine. When I'm watching it, it's kind of mesmerizing to me. I'm like, ooh, and it's like, oh, what did he say? Back it up. Just like.
Well, now it's a lot more muted. I found one that still has the blocks, but it's not nearly as distracting. And then what it allows, because it's a white background, is that I can predominantly display graphics for over the shoulders that don't really need to compete visually. Your eye will just kind of go there. And the background, while it's got some motion, isn't going to distract from that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just ignore them. You're doing fine. I like your show.
You know, I love to get feedback. I wish I got more, actually. I practically beg people to go into the comments and reach out. And honestly, people do reach out. Some of the best stories that I get are just from these random, someone will contact me on Telegram and bring something up. And I love it when I usually put stuff on hold when something like that comes, because then it's usually a story that is ends up being received really well. So it would be a lot easier if people told me what they'd like to see covered, instead of me trying to watch as many videos as, you know, keeping up with Charles's videos and keeping up with all of everyone's, your videos, Kaizen's, Big Pay's, the Cardano effect, IOHKs, and the blogs. Like the blogs, I think, are the best place to get information, but it's very difficult to stay on top of all of that stuff and coordinate, shoot, and write, and run the pool, and just all of this stuff. So when people reach out to me with news, that's like, gosh, money bags, ADA bags. That's like, I love it.
So something that I haven't asked you yet is just like shifting gears. What did you think when the data list update dropped?
So at first I was pretty excited about it. I was really excited because they had talked about multi-pool delegation, but it was in the context of kind of the back end infrastructure, so that we didn't get multi-pool delegation. I was really surprised when I saw the number of stake pools that were basically ignored, or you know, and then so I noticed that, and then I started to see some grumblings on Twitter, or Twitter and Reddit, and that's when I thought, you know, this is looking at the bigger picture with the stake pools and what was the thing Charles Hoskinson did an AMA where he basically said multi-pool delegation is coming, but I got to work on native assets first, and I got to work on all these other things first. And yeah, it's frustrating because I have to decide where my teams are going. But, you know, as a stake pool operator who's struggling, or a newscast producer, a content producer is really struggling to, you know, my computer right now is 5 years old. And I mean, I put it on Twitter, we talked about it, but I just ordered all of the parts for a new computer that's going to just work flawlessly. The computer I have now is just Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid. And so trying to raise money, you know, getting a computer is, you know, we're talking $4 or $5 grand.
Mhm.
And I'm not pulling in anything. So I definitely understand the pressure to monetize and make money. So yeah, I don't know, but I did get a new computer. I got the new parts, and I'll be producing on, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I'll be able to be using that new computer, and that is going to allow me to bring on multiple guests. Because you're using Zoom right now, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And it does all of the mixing of the video and the mixing of the audio. It does it all for you automatically.
Mhm.
I like to create graphics and then manually mix that stuff and make it look like a network, like a real like network newscast.
Mhm.
And so in order to do that, you got to have, you know, some special equipment. And so right now with the my computer the way it is, I can't have 2 people on at once. I just can't get the audio to work right.
Mhm.
But with the new computer, I should be able to have, you know, 4 or 5 people on at once. And that's really going to take the show to a new level, especially when like people start running, when we have, you know, some Catalyst projects where people are running against one another, and some Voltaire, once Voltaire hits and you've got candidates, you know, going after jobs, and we can have like, you know, 3 or 4 people on and a host to kind of present questions. I just think that'll be really cool. And that's in the future. It's coming.
Yeah. So I mean, I know there was some discussion on Twitter and probably some other shows about like the dataless wallet basically being the UI for delegators and not for us as SPOs, you know. So in order to look at dataless and see where you're going to pull in the most profit, which pool is going to be the most profitable for you as a delegator, that's how they have them ranked. And then the rest of us are just dismissed because we don't have enough stake, we don't have enough pledge, or like whatever. I think it's ridiculous. So
yeah, it is kind of ridiculous. In fact, after that happened, I moved half of my balance from dataless to Yoroi.
yeah.
I thought it would be a good idea to be in both, because I didn't really have any idea, except for what other people were telling and what I was reading, what was offered in Yoroi. And Yoroi has that deal now with Pool Tool, or you know, they're bringing in data from another third party. And I really appreciate Yoroi's interface. There's a lot more data there, you know, and I kind of want to move it all over to Yoroi, because as Ajira pointed out, you know, once you wait that initial 3-block period of 15 days, like you can move your delegation and you won't miss a rewards payment.
Right.
That is true,
Yep.
but it's not true when you create a new wallet and then move money to that wallet.
That's
You
true.
gotta
So if
wait
you move
that
from one
15
pool to
days.
the other, that's fine. You're just paying, you're paying that transaction fee, but you're just pool hopping, right? But new wallet to new pool, then you still have to wait. So
Yeah.
So
And after that show we did on the Trezor with multi-pool delegation, I couldn't help myself. I ordered one. I got mine right here. And I'm so impressed with this stupid Trezor. It's got a password manager. It acts as a like in order to log into my Gmail now, you got to plug the Trezor in and put in the code. It's really a lot more functional than the Ledger, which is what I've been using for years. So I'd like to move everything over to, eventually I'd like to move everything over to the Trezor. We'll see.
Well, James, what else do you want to cover? Because I mean, like, we've been talking forever.
Yeah, it's almost been 2 hours almost.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
we'll be really shocked if anyone makes it to the end of this.
So some people do, but I mean, like, what else do you want to cover, or do you have any closing remarks?
I'm just really grateful that you guys reached out to me, and you know, I'm able to have kind of a human conversation. You know, again, when I'm doing these newscasts, I really am thinking about optics, and so everything I say is very carefully planned, mostly, and so it's really neat to have this experience where I can kind of speak freely and you know, have a conversation.
Yeah. So
And
I really
hopefully.
feel like, what?
Hopefully I would like to see some of that content come now that I'm going to have weekends free. I'm going to be able to do a little bit more, venture into some different kinds of content for people out there. So.
Yeah. So I was going to say, like, we were talking about this earlier, but I really like the people that I've met in the space here, like in the Cardano community. Like, I feel like I've made like a lot of friends, even if they are just like virtual friends, but I've had block parties, you know, I've met some of these people, and I feel like after all this COVID crap, if we go to like a summit or something like that, we would all just be like, hi guys, you know, just be like, have these like,
I think that would be so,
that'd be so
cool.
fun.
Well, we should, you know, I think, gosh, Peyton was doing a show and he was talking to Shweta, I think. And I've brought this up a couple of times. You know, if Cardano, we should have a mile mark. If Cardano gets to $3, like the players, you know, you, me, everyone, like Kaizen, Big Pay, Philippe, Rick, Charles, if he wants to come, should like meet in Belize or something, you know, and have this like week-long vacation where, or even a summit would work too. That would be fun. I would love, absolutely love to do something like that.
I would just think it's so fun just to like actually be around everybody, because it's like you said, you can't talk to most people, right? Like I go to my friends and be like, start talking about Cardano, and it's kind of like Charlie Brown, just like wah, 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 wah. Like they don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Start talking to my parents. I got them to invest in it a little bit. They still don't know. I tell people about the show, and it's kind of like what you said, that I like watching you, and you're so like fun to watch, but I don't know what you're talking about. You know? So we're still trying to break it down even further, but like a lot of times we are talking to other SPOs and about Cardano issues, and so they don't know what we're talking about, you know? So
well, there's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, things still come up that I have to research and learn about. And I mean, it's not hard. It's intimidating. You know, you see all these people and they're having these conversations talking about things that you really have no idea about. You are attracted to it. Like there's this rewards mechanism and you want to learn more, but you don't want to ask a stupid question. I see it as just being, you know, it's a big learning curve.
Yeah.
But once
questions that I saw today and yesterday on actually one of the Facebook forums is people misunderstanding how you actually get your rewards, because they were asking which wallet gives you the better rewards, you know? And I think it has nothing to do with the wallet. It has to do with the pool that you go to. And I was explaining this to them.
Where'd you see that?
On the Facebook forums, like on the Cardano community forums or whatever. But there was a couple of different people who asked that. And I'm just like, guys, it's not the wallet. You choose a wallet where you put your money, but you stake to a pool, you know, and that's where you generate your rewards. And so they're like, oh. So
I think it's a learning curve for everyone, for investors, for stake pool operators, for everyone, for, you know, we are learning. It's really really early on. So yeah, I mean, there isn't a stupid question here.
So I feel like I'm kind of like babysitting the Facebook forums now, because it's not very active, but I do answer questions there. and I'll answer the questions on Twitter too. And then I always invite people into my Telegram channel to ask me questions. So everybody is welcome. I don't mind. So
that's a great service, Amanda. That really is. You know, we need more people who are willing to take the time and meet with noobs and talk to them about the questions that they have in a non-judgmental, safe way. We're gonna have to meet those needs if adoption is. I mean, adoption is gonna happen either way. There's no stopping that. But it's just how can we usher it in faster and more smoothly? And I think it's going to be a function of education and just teaching people out there. But I really think it's not going to become real until people see, hey, I can get cheaper car insurance with this smart app. Or I can get a cheaper Uber with this DApp.
So
Or
it's always about the right incentives and the right way to deliver these incentives, right? So once we figure that out, then it's going to be easy. So
yeah, agreed. All right, Angels, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm very grateful.
For everybody who stayed to this end. I mean, congratulations. Like and subscribe. Yes, this is so awesome. So and like we beat Rick's video. Rick's video is like an hour and a half. James, you're now 2 hours.
Really? Wow. Gosh, that goes against everything, like the long format. Oh, but I mean, you guys are the boss.
We're always trying to aim for that 10 minutes and then we always fail miserably.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I just interviewed Grigard, I should say. Fred Grigard. Goodness gracious, I screwed that up. He's the new Chief Executive Officer for the Cardano Foundation. And I was just so excited to be able to interview him. And I had so many questions for him. And I did all this. I looked at every interview he did. I took notes. And so I just, and was like, I don't think I can interview him in 10 minutes. So I decided to break that interview into 2 episodes. But even I think the first episode is 13 minutes and the second episode is 18 minutes. When that guy talks, I'm not going to cut him off. He is like speaking Cardano brilliance. And so when I saw the runtime, especially of that second episode at 18 minutes, I thought, oh my gosh, like
Alex, we can like chop James's episode into like 3 or 4.
Probably. Cut out that part with my brain fart, if you would.
All right, guys. I'm going to say goodbye. It was great talking to you guys, and we will see everyone next time, okay? All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.